Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I wanted to talk about Ishizu tier, and more specifically, the tier meta. Now, a lot of people are worried that this deck will be tier 0 in Master Duel, and first and foremost, it won't be. Maybe in tournaments, sure, but in Master Duel itself, it's not going to be. It's impossible for it to be. No deck will ever realistically be tier 0, or at the very least, tier 0 in how most people think about it, with like a 55 to 60% win rate and representation, right? And the reason for that is twofold. One, the pre-limitations. I doubt that there would be a deck that isn't tier 0 in the TCG and OCG that will not be immediately limited here. But two, and more importantly, it's a best of one. There are so many things that just blow out decks that it is very much a lot about luck, which means that even if you are the better player, even if you are the better deck, you can just lose immediately to Dimension Shifter, or Maxi, or a myriad of other things, right? Or bricking, right? And in a best of one, you don't get a second chance, right? So the win rate isn't going to be insane. It's not going to be, you know, definitively the best deck by far, tier 0, everyone has to play it. No, you can play a myriad of other decks. I've lost to Madolche. Madolche isn't anti-tier, it's just they got the better opening multiple times. Can't really do anything about that. That just happens, right? So again, while I think it could be tier 0, quote unquote, in like tournament formats, I wouldn't expect it to be even there. Or at least what I would consider tier 0, which is over 55% representation in Top Cut specifically. I think maybe a tournament here or there will get over 50, maybe up to even 60, but I don't think it will be a large representation of that, where most of them are over tier 0, or over that tier 0 mark, right? Now, with that being said, and being out of the way, I'm going to say this real quick as well. This has been the most fun I've had in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel since release. Like, genuinely, it's not close. And the reason for that is, one, I play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! So I am pretty adept at this game. I know how to play this game, and I've gotten above average. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily like top tier in terms of a player, but I will say that I am better than average. Most players are below me in terms of skill, which means that a deck like this and a meta like this rewarding better players is good for me. Makes it more fun, makes it more engaging, and it makes it so that a lot of times I'm actually able to win duels due to my own decision making and me being able to play better, which I love. That's super enjoyable, and it's not something that comes along every meta. So look at the very first meta in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel with like Zodiac Tri-Brigade or Drytron, right? Oh yeah, sure, the better player won there, 100%. Probably not, right? It's everyone can pilot Tri-Brigade Zodiac. It's not that hard. There are nuances to it, sure, and you can show that you are the better player oftentimes, but a bad player can win just as much, right? And with this meta as well, there are a lot of other decks that also have the ability to interact. Flu, Exosister, etc., that aren't exactly difficult. So you're still able to play the game, and so I, again, thoroughly enjoy this meta. It's interesting enough, and it's back and forth enough, to where it becomes fun. Now, I will say, I didn't play nearly as much in the TCG during this time, so that is one thing. So again, if you've played this in the TCG or in the OCG, yeah, I can understand being sick of it, and I can totally understand not wanting to go through this meta again. But that's just Master Duel. We've literally gone through every meta that we've previously had in other formats. With like one exception, we got the Ishizu cards before we got the tier cards, so we didn't really have that meta with like sprite tier stuff. That was probably my favorite meta in the TCG, but alas, there you go. But what I will say is that we still have had some really casual-esque formats, as I will say, where you're just kind of able to play the best decks pretty simply, right? Eldritch has been a really good deck and has been one of the best. Prank Kids isn't exactly that difficult. At least in Master Duel, it's not. The biggest problem with Prank Kids was knowing which Prank Kid monster you have actually activated, right? Sword Soul wasn't ever really that difficult and could be piloted pretty well, but that one also rewarded better players, similar to Branded, right? Branded was pretty simple, pretty good for casuals, as well as for those who wanted to play more competitively. Lots of stuff like that, right? Lots of metas where the casual player base can still play the game, and tier to me is no exception. I honestly believe that most players can play the game against tier. You're not gonna win, but you can play the game much more than something like Runic, when Runic Stun was the best deck, or Eldritch, or Adamantipator, or Drytron, or the list goes on, right? This is a deck that's never going to stop you from playing the game. It may win the game more consistently, but you're always going to have something that you can do, right? Some sort of interaction, some sort of back and forth, right? And you can always showcase that you are the better player. You may not win, but you can always showcase that, which is awesome, right? And it's one of the greatest things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the nuance and that, you know, back and forth, right? The interaction is the best part, and tier does that, right? It's a lot about managing resources, knowing what to do, you know, back and forth. You activate something, I'm gonna activate something. Now, I know a lot of people also don't like the our turn mentality, where it's like, I'm gonna play on your turn just as much as you are gonna play on your turn. And I do understand that. That's just something where, hey, if you don't like that, I get it, go play Magic. Like, I don't have anything else, go play Magic, go play Pokemon. Like, there are other really good card games as well. That's one of the things that sets Yu-Gi-Oh! Apart and makes it really fun, at least for me. So, there you go. Yeah, Ishizu tier has been incredibly fun. But if this does stick around, which I don't think it will stick around as the best deck definitively for as long as it did in the TCG or the OCG, but if it does stick around, people will get sick of it, as we all do with every meta, right? We got sick of the Tri-Brigade Zodiac meta. Eventually something came along and spiced that up with Sword Soul and the like. So, you know, it happens. And yeah, I can understand if you want to take a break from the game because this game is more complex. It's more difficult to play. You know, you're in gold and you're playing against tier and you have no idea what you're doing. And you're just like, I just want to play my Blue Eyes deck. Why are you here? Leave me alone. I get it. I totally do. And that sucks, right? But that's every meta, right? Oh no, the best deck showed up in gold or showed up in the lower tiers. Go away. Everyone always complains. It's the same thing over and over. People just don't like the meta. That's okay. But stop complaining. Stop complaining as much. Tier is not as bad as a lot of the other things. You could be Drytron locked. You could be under Herald of Ultimateness. You could be under Vanity's Fiend. You could be under Adamantipator with, or you know, VFD. Remember when that was a thing? It could be worse. Anyway, that being said, I hate the Ishizu cards. They all deserve to die. That's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, I like us very much, so appreciate it. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. And thank you guys so much for watching. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.